Self-doubt and insecurity can hold us back from reaching our full potential and living our best lives. These feelings make us question our abilities, decisions, and self-worth. This episode will examine what self-doubt and insecurity really mean, explore why we experience these feelings, discuss how self-doubt influences our insecurities, look at its impact on our well-being, and finally, talk about some ways to address it. Hi there, I'm Ayo from the Talking Hub, and we are going to explore 5 ways to address self-doubt and insecurity in our lives. Self-doubt can be described as a state of uncertainty about anything in our lives, including our own thoughts, abilities, and self-worth. It is characterized by the feelings of insecurity and a lack of confidence in one or more aspects of our lives. Now, when we experience self-doubt, it can make us feel anxious, unsure of ourselves, and insecure in who we are. The self-discrepancy theory suggests that we experience a sense of discomfort and insecurity when there's a discrepancy between our actual selves and our ideal selves. So why do we experience self-doubt in our lives? One reason why we experience self-doubt in our lives is because of our tendency to doubt and not believe in ourselves when we are faced with new or challenging situations. We could also experience self-doubt because of our past negative experiences or criticisms from others. If we've been told we're not good enough or have failed at something before, it can erode our self-confidence and make us doubt who we are in similar situations moving forward. One other reason for self-doubt is comparing ourselves to others. In this age of social media, it is so easy to get caught up in comparing our lives, achievements, and appearances to the highlight reels of others. This can make us feel that we are falling short and increase our self-doubt. For instance, scrolling through Instagram and seeing someone's seemingly perfect life can make us question our own choices and worth. Another factor that can contribute to self-doubt is perfectionism. We are more likely to feel inadequate and doubt our abilities when we set unrealistic standards for ourselves. We might feel that we are not good enough at anything because our goals are unrealistic, and perfectionism can also lead us to focus more on our mistakes rather than looking at our strengths and the things that we've accomplished. And finally, our lack of self-awareness and understanding of our own strengths can promote self-doubt. Okay, so we've looked at why we experience self-doubt, but we also need to understand how it can influence some of our insecurities in our lives. Self-doubt breeds insecurities by making us feel unsure and anxious about ourselves and our abilities. When we constantly question ourselves, it undermines our self-confidence and makes us feel so vulnerable. Self-doubt can also make us feel insecure by making us seek constant validation and approval from others. We might rely on external feedback to feel insecure because most of the time we don't trust our own judgments. This can lead to people-pleasing behaviors and a difficulty in asserting ourselves. One of the ways self-doubt influences our insecurities is by making us fear failure and avoid taking risks. We might play it safe because we don't believe in ourselves and we miss out on some opportunities for growth and success. Another way self-doubt has an influence on our insecurities is that it can make us so critical and hard on ourselves. And finally, self-doubt can also contribute to insecurities in our relationships. We might worry that we are not good enough for our partner or fear being rejected by others. This could lead to jealous behaviors because we constantly seek reassurance. Now, in my view, it's important to embrace our authentic selves and also recognize that self-doubt can have a negative impact on our psychological health and well-being. One of such negative impacts is that it can take a significant toll on our mental health. Self-doubt is associated with increased anxiety because we worry so much about our abilities, decisions, and how others perceive us. This constant questioning and uncertainty can leave us feeling on the edge and so stressed. Self-doubt can also be linked to depression. When we constantly criticize ourselves and feel that we're not good enough, it leads to low moods and a negative self-image. One of the negative impacts of self-doubt on our well-being is a low sense of self-esteem. Our sense of self-worth is eroded because we don't believe or trust in ourselves. And finally, self-doubt can lead to unhealthy coping mechanisms and behaviors. We might turn to things like substance use, disordered eating, overworking, or even people-pleasing to deal with our discomfort and insecurities. Now, while these might provide temporary relief, they ultimately make the underlying issues worse. So we've been able to define self-doubt and insecurities, explore why we experience these feelings, discuss how self-doubt is linked to our insecurities, and looked at the significant impact on our psychological health and well-being. Let's now discuss 5 ways to address self-doubt and insecurity. One way to address self-doubt and insecurity is by practicing self-compassion. This means treating ourselves with kindness and understanding. When we notice self-doubt creeping in, we can respond with self-compassion rather than criticisms. Another way to address self-doubt in our lives is by challenging our negative self-talks. Our thoughts have a big impact on how we feel, so it's important to notice and question the doubting inner voices in our heads. We can ask ourselves if our self-doubts are really true or if there's evidence to the contrary. We can practice reframing negative thoughts into a more balanced and realistic one. One other way to address self-doubt is by building a supportive network. Surrounding ourselves with people who believe in us can make a big difference in our lives. We can share our doubts or insecurities with trusted friends, family members, or even specialist professionals. Talking about our self-doubts can stop us from feeling isolated and help us gain new perspectives. It is important to mention that we should consider professional help if self-doubt and our insecurities are significantly having a negative impact on our psychological health and well-being. Another helpful strategy to address self-doubt is by focusing on our strengths and accomplishments. When we doubt ourselves, it's easy to dwell on our inadequacies and overlook all the things that we've done well in the past. Taking time to acknowledge our positive qualities, skills, and successes can boost our self-confidence. For instance, if we doubt our abilities at work, we could reflect on our past projects which were successful and the positive feedback that was received. And finally, we can address self-doubt by taking action and facing our fears. Self-doubt often holds us back from going after what we want because we worry about failing and not being good enough. Challenging ourselves to take small risks and try new things can help us build our self-confidence through experience. We can start with manageable steps outside our comfort zone and gradually take on bigger challenges. So here's a quick review of what we've discussed on self-doubt, insecurities, and how to address these challenges. We've established that self-doubt is a state of uncertainty about ourselves that often influences our own insecurities. We've explored factors that contribute to self-doubt, like facing new challenges, past negative experiences, and a lack of self-awareness. We've also seen how self-doubt breeds insecurities and limits us in many ways. So we can probably conclude by saying addressing self-doubt and our insecurities is important for our psychological health and well-being because we develop a more positive outlook to life, our confidence and self-esteem improves, we can build healthier and more fulfilling relationships with others, we can experience an increase in resilience in the face of challenges and setbacks, and finally, addressing self-doubt could help us develop healthier coping strategies for managing stress and anxiety. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the Talking Hub, and you can also listen to or download this episode on Spotify, Google, or Apple Podcasts. Thank you.